In 1953, Ronald Tomman was a sophomore at Miami University in Ohio. He was a business major and he was living in a dorm room inside of Fisher Hall. Fisher Hall was a converted insane asylum, and all the students there believed that Fisher Hall was a haunted dorm. On April 19th of that year, Ron was in his dorm room inside of Fisher Hall. He was listening to the radio and reading a book. At 8 p.m., he must have thought about getting into bed, and when he did, he pulled back the sheets and found that someone had left a dead fish in his bed. And so at 8 p.m. there was an official request from Ron to get new sheets sent up to his room. At about 8:30 p.m., we don't know what it was, but something disturbed Ronald enough to where he ran out into the hall. When his roommate came back at 10 p.m., the door to their room was open and he saw that all of Ronald's things were just laying out, the lights were on, but there was no sign of Ron. The next day, when he couldn't get in touch with Ron, he ended up telling authorities that his roommate had been missing since the night before. When police began investigating, they saw that he had been studying a psychology textbook before he ran out into the hall, and he had actually dropped the only psychology course he was taking 3 weeks earlier. His car was still parked right outside the dorm. There was still a couple $100s inside of his bank account, and because he had not taken anything from his room, people believe he basically left in a t-shirt and shorts with no money, no shoes, no anything. A woman living 12 miles away from the campus would later report that the same night he went missing, a man looking like Ronald Tomman showed up at her door. And she opened the door and she said he was visibly frightened. He kept looking around like something was after him, but he seemed very upset. He was totally disheveled. He didn't have a jacket on, he didn't have shoes on, there was no car outside of her house. So this kind of crazy looking guy comes up to the door and he says, "You gotta tell me where the bus stop is. I gotta get out of here. Where's the bus stop?" And she pointed down the road. He immediately turned and he ran away. And that was the last anybody saw of him. 5 months before Ron ran out of his dorm room to investigate some sound in the hall, or whatever it was in the hall, he had gone to a coroner's office to ask to have his blood typed. And the coroner said in 35 years he's never had someone come to him and ask him to do a blood type for them. Ronald could have just gone to a local physician on campus to do that for him. So it seems strange that he would have gone to a coroner, of all people, to get his blood typed. Tomman's parents said they spoke to him a week before he went missing, and they said there was nothing unusual about him. He seemed like he was happy, well-adjusted. He had no clear stress in his life. It just didn't add up. To this day, no one knows where he is, and no one knows what he heard in the hall that made him run out and then ultimately vanish.